Since the late 19th century, astronomy has expanded to include astrophysics, the application of physical and chemical knowledge to an understanding of the nature of celestial objects and the physical processes that control their formation, evolution, and emission of radiation. In addition, the gases and dust particles around and between the stars have become the subjects of much research. Study of the nuclear reactions that provide the energy radiated by stars has shown how the diversity of atoms found in nature can be derived from a universe that, following the first few minutes of its existence, consisted only of hydrogen, helium, and a trace of lithium. Concerned with phenomena on the largest scale is cosmology, the study of the evolution of the universe. Astrophysics has transformed cosmology from a purely speculative activity to a modern science capable of predictions that can be tested. Its great advances notwithstanding, astronomy is still subject to a major constraint: it is inherently an observational rather than an experimental science. Almost all measurements must be performed at great distances from the objects of interest, with no control over such quantities as their temperature, pressure, or chemical composition. Cybercrime is any criminal activity that involves a computer, networked device or a network. While most cybercrimes are carried out in order to generate profit for the cybercriminals, some cybercrimes are carried out against computers or devices directly to damage or disable them, while others use computers or networks to spread malware, illegal information, images or other materials. Some cybercrimes do both, i.e., target computers to infect them with a computer virus, which is then spread to other machines and, sometimes, entire networks. A primary effect of cybercrime is financial. Cybercrime can include many different types of profit-driven criminal activity, including ransomware attacks, email and internet fraud, and identity fraud, as well as attempts to steal financial account, credit card or other payment card information. Cybercriminals may also target an individual's private information, as well as corporate data for theft and resale. As many workers settle into remote work routines due to the pandemic, cybercrimes are expected to grow in frequency in 2021, making it especially important to protect backup data.
Tropical monsoon climates are relatively rare. They have a monthly mean temperature above 18 degrees Celsius in every month of the year and feature wet and dry seasons. Unlike tropical wet and dry climates, however, a tropical monsoon climate experiences greater than 1,000 millimeters of rainfall in the year. In addition, a tropical monsoon climate tends to see less variance in temperatures during the course of the year. This climate has a driest month which nearly always occurs at or soon after the winter solstice. Tropical monsoon climate can come in two distinct forms. The first features wet and dry seasons, with less pronounced dry seasons. Regions with this form of tropical monsoon climate typically see significant amounts of rain falling during the wet season, usually in the form of frequent thunderstorms with a less pronounced dry season. The second form of tropical monsoon climate features wet and dry seasons, with extraordinarily rainy wet seasons and more pronounced dry seasons, similar to that of dry and wet tropical climates. However, the dry season is followed by a sustained period of extraordinary rainfall. In some instances, in excess of 1,000 millimeters of precipitation is observed per month for 2 or more consecutive months. Areas which experience tropical monsoon climate are affected by monsoon winds which blow in from the sea in summer and bring with them the seasonal rain. These can occur in both hot and cooler areas but are most commonly found in parts of Asia, the Indian subcontinent and other areas around the Pacific Ocean. These seasonal winds are drawn into the continental interiors due to the intense heating of the land. Demography is the statistical study of human populations. Demography examines the size, structure, and movements of populations over space and time. It uses methods from history, economics, anthropology, sociology, and other fields. Demography is useful for governments and private businesses as a means of analyzing and predicting social, cultural, and economic trends related to population. The earliest statistical studies were concerned mostly with mortality, how many people died and at what age. Through studying baptism and burial records, demographers could estimate the number of men of military age, and the number of women of childbearing age. His study represents one of the earliest statistical examinations of the population of a region. Demographic studies were often carried out by early insurance agents to determine life insurance rates. These early demographic studies were mostly concerned with mortality. However, in the 19th century, studies showed that there was a decline in the number of births, and researchers began to study fertility as well as mortality. These studies led to the idea of differential fertility. Differential fertility suggests that different groups within a population have different numbers of children due to factors, such as religion, cultural attitudes, poverty, and employment. Migration of people is the last main factor in demographic studies. It is these three variables, mortality, fertility, and migration, that contribute to population change.
Critical thinking is the ability to think clearly and rationally, understanding the logical connection between ideas. Critical thinking has been the subject of much debate and thought since the time of early Greek philosophers such as Plato and Socrates, and has continued to be a subject of discussion into the modern age, for example the ability to recognize fake news. Critical thinking might be described as the ability to engage in reflective and independent thinking. In essence, critical thinking requires you to use your ability to reason. It is about being an active learner rather than a passive recipient of information. Critical thinkers rigorously question ideas and assumptions rather than accepting them at face value. They will always seek to determine whether the ideas, arguments and findings represent the entire picture and are open to finding that they do not. Critical thinkers will identify, analyze and solve problems systematically rather than by intuition or instinct. It is thinking about things in certain ways so as to arrive at the best possible solution in the circumstances that the thinker is aware of. In more everyday language, it is a way of thinking about whatever is presently occupying your mind so that you come to the best possible conclusion.